Welcome to another episode of Roll or Die. We're on a bit of a roll with repeat guests, so we thought we would bring on someone who was a very early guest of ours, and many of our listeners may not have been Roll or Die listeners back then. He's probably one of the main coaches in Australia, one of the biggest clubs in Australia, that's for sure. His team always bring the heat, whether it's the Pan Packs, the Nationals, whatever. He's the head coach of Australian Elite team. He's got a brand new headquarters gym that we're going to talk to him about. And he is Ninos Dammo. Thanks for joining us, Ninos.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, man. I just looked it up and you were episode number 18 coming on with Gustavo Falsaroli. So that was a long time ago, man. Woo.
Yeah, we're 200 plus episodes now. So yeah, we've been doing this a long time now. So yeah.
So have you settled into the new gym yet, brother? Is it just smooth sailing from here on in?
Not really, no. A lot of work, man. I thought I'd get in there, and I've actually sold 49% of the AET. To 6 shareholders.
Wow.
That are very good with business, and I was hoping, I could step back from it all, but it's very busy, very busy. So
you're wearing a UFC logo, and it feels like the UFC when they sold, to the stars. Did you get any celebrities? Did any celebrities buy into AET, brother?
The UFC fighter that bought into AET, actually, but I can't say it.
There you go. Wow.
It's massive. Like, I was never very good at business. I wasn't very good at promoting. I wasn't very good at any of it. I think I was okay at teaching and culture, but that was it. These guys are good at everything. Like, we've got professional cleaners coming through the place every day. We've got a cafe being run full time. We've got more merchandise than we've ever had. It's incredible. What they're doing is incredible. I'm loving it. It's a beautiful place, and it's nice to walk in there. Windows all around. Nice views, full heating and cooling. It's beautiful. I love it.
And it's like, sorry, go on, Kim. Go.
Sorry, I was just going to say, it's actually in a shopping centre, Gladstone Park Shopping Centre. Tell us how you came upon that.
How did I find that, did you say?
Yeah.
We were just Googling, looking for a new place because we ran out of room at the old place. Parking was a disaster. We found it, and when we were about to rent it, the guy said he was selling it to someone else. So then we were like, I don't know what to do. And then we found another place. And when we were about to sign on the other place, the landlord from Gladstone Park came back to us and said, if you want it, it's yours. And it ticks all the boxes, Kim and Anton. We couldn't pass it up. There's 300 car parks right in front of the place. It's got everything we need, So other places are good, but they lacked parking, or they lacked size, or they lacked location. This was everything in one. But we put in our offer, and he said yes, and that was it.
It's amazing. So, you said you're not very good at business, but the thing that strikes me is for someone who's not good at business, you built the biggest one of the biggest gyms in Australia. It's got a massive amount of momentum, and then you've sold it for 49%. You've sold 49% of it, which is another success story, really. So either you are very good at business and you are shortchanging yourself, or what is the secret, brother? How has this all happened?
Man, I think I'm good at people. No. That's the truth. I'm good at people. Being good at people is different from being good at business. Put a lot of energy into my students. They're all my friends. They're all close to me. I'm not good at business because I don't charge half of them and give everything away for free. But I'm good at people. I love people. I'm interested in people. I think you can be an amazing jiu-jitsu instructor, but not necessarily a good leader. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you want to lead your team and lead your people, it takes energy and effort. It's not something you can replicate by reading a book. You've got to sacrifice to be in there. You've got to be training with your guys. You've got to buy them lunch when they're broke. You've got to be there when they call you up at night and they're crying because they're mum passed away, whatever it is, you know what I mean? Like whatever they go through, you've got to put a part of you into them, and they love you for it. You know, so not very good at business, but I think I'm okay with people, and that paid off in the end.
I love it, man.
Yeah,
That's
I
brilliant.
think every one of your students that we've had on as guests here have all said that, pretty much that about you, that you as a leader, like you as a person, are the reason that the Australian Elite team are what it is today. Like your legacy, I suppose. So can you talk to us a little bit about the culture? We've heard it from your students, but from your point of view, do you work hard on building that culture, or is it just something that comes about naturally?
Look, I think the culture comes from a few different places, if I'm being honest. One is from my dad, my father, who's like the best human being I've ever met. He really is. I've known him my whole life, obviously. He I can't fault him. He's a good man. He's the kind of guy that when somebody's not nice to him, he goes around praising them and speaking well of them.
Nice.
Yeah, he does. He's got a
Amazing.
habit of that. Whenever he hears somebody speaking badly about him, he starts praising them and speaking well. He taught me since I was a little kid. He said, when your enemy knocks on your door, welcome them and feed them and treat them well. He's an amazing man. So I try to, I can never leave it. I can't even carry his sandals, but I try to follow him as much as I could. And then my son Jacob, who, you know, that boy taught me more about culture than anyone. You know, he's 15 now, still has seizures, still can't talk, cerebral palsy, autism. But when you have a son who suffers like that, it's very easy for you to have compassion for other people that are going through hard things because you're living it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And when you have a son who can't do what other people can do, like I was walking with him at the park the other day, and there was kids his age playing, and I remember he just sort of stopped and he was looking at them, and I could see that he could feel that he wasn't like them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when you go through that, when my students walk in and I see a white belt that's not very good, my immediate reaction is compassion, love, let's lift him up. And that's what it is, man. Like, we don't have favoritism for the high belts at all. If you walk into the gym and you're a white belt, the day that you walk in, you're AET. You're going to be loved, respected. You're going to be surrounded by good people, and we're going to lift you up. We're not. I'm very against the idea of all the UFC fighters and all the black belts coming together and sort of leaving all the whites and blue belts outside. I don't like that. And I think, I don't know, Kim, it just happens naturally. I'm not trying to do it. Just, it happened organically. I'm surrounded by good people and everybody puts in, and it's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful
Absolutely,
thing.
man. I also live with someone who's different. My little niece, Akina, she's now 16, I think. And yeah, she's non-verbal. And like, I really get it, man. Like, we all have our different strengths, and this little human being brings amazing joy and love, but not in any other way that any other human being has. And we can discover so much, you know,
100%.
because we just expect everything to be normal, and then all of a sudden it's just not. And then, but it's also great. It can also be great and amazing and such a teaching.
Yeah.
Oh man, Jihad. Okay, so I spend a lot of time with Big G nowadays, and like, is he a representation of your gym and your culture? Like, what? Like, is this guy? This guy is crazy, but in the best possible way. I love the guy, but like, what is it like? Like, is he a representation of your students, or is he something different? Like, he's always been making funny content and these sorts of things. How did you manage someone like him throughout his journey as someone underneath you?
All the affiliates, I think, are a representation in different ways. But part of the AET culture is loving and accepting different people from different backgrounds, different cultures, different attitudes. And yeah, Jihad's very loved at the gym. I'll be honest. Our the way that we sort of gel with each other is as soon as he walks in, I'll make fun of him. He'll make fun of me. We have a laugh. We'll have a roll. But you know, people see what he does on YouTube and all the funny videos. He's actually a really nice guy. He's been very supportive to me. He's a good guy, good grappler, good training partner. But no, there's no two coaches that are the same. You know, Michael May is completely different to Jihad. And then you've got like Jake Matthews, who's completely different to Michael. But somehow they all get along well, and there's no real, no clashing or anything. It's just, it's good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
brilliant.
Jihad, I love G.
And so are you involved with, what level are you involved with your affiliates at? Do you sort of, they set up and then you leave them be, you might pop in once every few months or whatever, or are you across what's going on? Are those coaches interacting with you often, or how you just let them kind of do their own thing? How does it go?
Yeah. So the rule of the AET is, if you're an affiliate, you have to train at the headquarters once a week.
Wow.
It's just my way of being connected to all the other guys. You have to be in once a week.
Is that for the coaches or the students as well?
The coaches.
Yeah.
So G will have to be in once a week. We've got 30 affiliates. Each one of them will have to pop in once a week, just so that we stay connected. Before COVID, there was a period where they weren't coming in as much, and we started to lose connection. I didn't like it. So once a week, they have to pop in and have a roll, and they're loving it as well. It's good training for everyone. I spend more time going to the gyms that need it more. Does that make sense? I don't sort of level myself out equally. Like when Matt Tonkin opened up his gym, I was going to his gym every week for about a year, every week. Once he got a couple of his own black belts, I pulled away. I go there maybe twice a year now. I started going to the other small gyms, trying to help them level up a little bit if I can. But I also allow all of their students to cross-train at the headquarters once a week for free. So that's my way of trying to sort of keep everybody together.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. So these guys will get guys that are getting quite good, and then once a week they'll send them down and train. And then when they hit purple or brown belt, they'll start sending them down to the master's class on Thursday morning and train. But yeah, I can't do once every 2 months per affiliate because I literally don't have the time. If I did every affiliate, I'd get through one or two a year maybe. So I spoke to them all, and we just agreed that the ones that are struggling, I'll go to them. And if anybody struggles with their gym, they reach out, and we'll send guys down and we'll support. Yeah.
Awesome, man. I love that.
Thank
When you go to an event, when I go to a comp, all right, and there's someone from AET grappling, you guys are just so much louder than everybody else. Is that like something that how did that all start? Because it's palpable, it's different. There is literally no other gym that compares when it comes to screaming at a comp. Tell us a story about that.
Yeah. So, I have another rule at my gym, and I didn't start it for this. I started it for another reason. When I partner people up, like I'll do groups of 4 and they'll drill, and I'll try and keep them as close to their own level. One of the rules is, and I'm very vocal about it, you have to coach the person in the middle. So let's say it's me, you and Kim are rolling, and we're working guard, and Kim's in guard. I have to coach Kim. And the reason you do that, obviously, you guys would understand, is it teaches you while you're watching. You start to pick things apart instead of daydreaming. We've noticed people really rapidly improve after we started that. So what's happened is these guys and girls will go into comp, and they've been practicing coaching for such a long time, mixed in with they're very close, and they start to, get excited and all that. But even the white belts, I'll walk past the white belts and say, if you don't know what to say, just encourage. Say something. Be careful. Man, I reckon the technique doubled in my gym when we started that, because every person that wasn't rolling was analyzing and dissecting. And naturally, when they go to competition, they all want to coach now because they've been doing it for the past 6 months. You know what I mean?
It's awesome.
So, yeah, how it came around. Yeah.
Brilliant.
And when you go into competitions, like things like the Pan Packs, the IBJJF have a rule, I think, that you can only have 2 entrants per division, per club. So how do you combat that for a club of your size? What strategies have you got?
Yeah, we've only got one strategy, Kim. We do a qualifier. So we do a qualifier about 2 months out of the Pan Packs. The Victorian Championships, I never put in a team. I just say, if you want to jump in and have a go, have fun. Some people do it, some people don't. But the Pan Packs is the one that we really train hard for. So I get all the coaches to come in. We have a meeting. We decide that we're going to do it on this day. They send down their affiliates, and the affiliates will fight out until there's 2 people standing in one division. And those 2 don't fight. They shake each other's hands, and they represent the A-team competition. Just the easiest, fairest way to do it. Everybody has a go. And it's pretty good because there's a good representation generally across all the affiliates. It's never just the headquarters guys. Everybody has good guys that come in and represent at the end. Yeah.
And do they, like, will they, after they're selected, do they do extra training together, or they just kind of go do their own thing? Like, is there any follow on for after the selection?
Yeah. So what we'll do is when we partner people up in training, it's sort of not just random. It's very like, for example, let's say Dimmy's competing. Dimmy's got an amazing close guard, and then I know that Michael Tomei's fighting somebody first round who's got a very good close guard, or somebody's in the division with a good close guard. Then I'll purposely put him constantly with Dimmy to replicate that. If one of the blue belts is fighting, and I know that the guy that won it last year has an amazing wrestling, I'll start putting him with, all the wrestlers in the gym. So we're constantly trying to match people up according to who we think will be in their division. Because we all know each other in the community. So I know who's going to be in there and who the good guys are and all that. So it's not just random. I mean, you don't want to put guys in training constantly working their guard if they're going to walk into comp and immediately have another person pull guard on them. You need to sort of judge what the other person is going to do and train accordingly, I think, for a competition,
Yeah.
But I also don't put people in the same group week after week. We rotate. Last week could be Jake Matthews, Michael Tomei, Nam, and David Unan. And the week after, if one of them was struggling, I'll put him in a lesser group and put somebody else in that group and just keep rotating.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's not a great answer. It's hard to like what I mean.
It's good. It's good.
In a club of your size, like you mentioned that your new location has got car parking for 300 students. Like I've been at many of your classes and they are 100 people, would be a class. Like to have that many people on the mat. How do you as a coach kind of keep across everything like that? Like how do you know that in that group of 4 someone was struggling or whatever? Or do you have like helpers? Do people helping you, or are you kind of across the whole mat?
Yeah. If I walked into a gym, Kim, and I had 100 white belts on the mat, I couldn't do it. It'd be very hard. You could do it, but it would be very hard to keep it on everyone. You got to remember that we've been around a long time now. So we've got a deep history of grapplers at the gym. Like we had, I think, 111 grapplers in my no-gi class on Wednesday, but I think 14 of them were black belts and around 20 brown belts. So what happens is, and I've said this before on other podcasts, I don't think the leader of the gym can really lead that many people. You lead the hierarchies, and they lead everyone else. So when I say, all right, we're working on this, my guys are amazing. Like guys like Vince and Michael Tomei and Matt Tonkin and Dimmy and Jake Matthews, and without me even like saying anything, they just spread out and start helping people. It's beautiful to see. So I'm not really teaching on my own. I'll show a technique. I'll say, all right, partner up. Everybody that's purple and above will walk straight over to the new guys, to the white belts, and start working with them. You never see like the black belts congregate together. It doesn't happen. They go over to the new guys, they start to work. And I guess that just comes back down to the culture. We've built a culture that's very supportive and accepting of new people. And if you're accepting and supportive of new people, those new people become really good and become more training partners for the good guys. So everybody wins. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
With like AET in general, I think, unless I'm behind the times, you guys are like almost fully BJJ, right? There is no MMA.
No.
So
No, there is.
Oh, there is. Okay. Right. Okay. Yeah, cool. So
yeah.
What about striking? Do you guys have striking?
Yeah. Our head striking coach is Sam Greco.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. He's there 3 nights a week. He does like an hour and a half class each night.
Right.
Then we have boxing a couple of nights a week with Blake Caparello and a guy named Dennis. And Sam Greco's classes are booming. We're getting like 70 strikers in a class.
Wow.
It's crazy, yeah. And then our MMA classes are run by Jake Matthews and Tommy Gunn.
Right.
Doing an amazing job as well. MMA classes get packed as well. Then we have wrestling with Bilal Abdo. And I don't know if any of you ever trained with Bilal Abdo. In my opinion, Bilal Abdo is one of the best coaches in the country. He's amazing. As a coach, the way he articulates, the way he teaches, he's so full of energy and passion. I think he's brilliant,
Awesome, man.
So,
That's great. We have to get down.
everything now. We do everything. Yeah.
Maybe we could do a thing where roll or die listeners can come down and say roll or die or something, and they can come and do a class with him, and we can crash the mats.
It says roll or die. They can come and train for free. How about that?
Okay. Cool, bro.
You heard it here first, listeners. Yeah, go on down to
I don't know where
Gladstone Park Shopping Centre.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought AET didn't do other things. I think there was a time, right, like that though, or am I imagining?
There was a time like that. We did like a little bit of boxing, but it was never anything too serious. But when we moved to the new gym, we have about maybe 20 guys that will be fighting MMA over the next year that are very good, very good. They've just been head down training hard. And we've decided to like really step out into the MMA scene a bit more seriously, you know.
Nice.
But without losing the jiu-jitsu thing that we do as well. I'm trying to balance it all. It's hard, but Greco is an amazing leader and coach. Having him is such a blessing for the team. He's unreal, and the amount of people that are on board because of Sam is it's exciting. Yeah, it's really good.
So cool.
Ninos, you've got some high-level women there, quite a few. You've got a couple of black belt females and other higher ranks. Where do you think women's classes fit? Like your culture is very, supportive and that's fine. Do you think there's a need for women's only classes, or you think that it's okay for them to join in with the mixed classes straight off? What are your thoughts?
Look, what do I personally think? Personally, I think it's okay for them to just jump in with everyone. That's my personal opinion. However, I also think that what I think doesn't sort of decide how everyone else feels. Does that make sense? There are going to be some women that come in that aren't comfortable. We've experienced that at the AET. So we have women's classes twice a week. One of them is run by Emily Tlevsky, who's a black belt now. And one of them is run by Abby, Arabella. I call her Abigail, just to make fun of her.
Yeah,
she's a beast.
Yeah.
But we always encourage the girls that are in that class to try and pop into the main class as well. But for any women that come in, because it can be daunting for a female walking into a gym that's 90% men. They might feel out of place. That's like come into that class. If you feel comfortable, pop in. If not, train with Abby and Emily. They're great coaches as well. I don't mind if they just want to do that. But most of them end up transitioning into the mixed class eventually.
So what's a day in Ninos's life now? Like, you must wake up in the morning and just kick yourself sometimes. Like, I imagine sometimes I do. I'm like, how did I get to live this life? This is pretty cool. And like, even when things are when things are working so well, it's hard to just not believe it's a dream or not think things are going to get, I don't know. What's life like for you right now? What's a day in the life?
It's busy, man. Very busy. I'm up at about 5 a.m. My son, my family's my number one priority. So I take care of my kids, make sure they've got everything they need. Once my son goes off to school, I usually have a nap for an hour. I'm not one of those guys that can do 4 hours a night. I can't do that. It kills me. So I might go to bed at midnight. I have a nap at around 8 o'clock in the morning until 9. Then I get up and have a shower, get dressed, and I go to work. I'll do a couple of classes during the day, and then I'll have meetings usually in between. Then I'll have a couple of other classes at night, and then I'll get home, spend some time with my wife and my kids again, and usually go to my room at about 11 and spend about an hour responding to messages that I don't send because it's late. So I'll draft a whole bunch of messages.
Interesting.
And then when I get up in the morning, I just go send, and start all over again. There's this quote that says, people will envy the car that you drive, but don't know how many times you've missed the repayments.
Yeah.
It is a dream, big gym. It's a dream. It's amazing. I actually love it, but it's hard work. It's not like we just go there and do a class and everyone loves us and we go home. It's hard, man. Very hard. You both teach, you understand it's hard work, and I respect coach from any team that does it. But there are definitely benefits and perks, 100%. But I'm at a stage in my life now where I'm so busy. It's crazy. I can't explain it. I don't have any time for myself. Maybe once every few weeks I have a couple of hours where I can go do something for myself. But apart from that, just go. Yeah.
Got it.
I think we asked you this when you were first time on the previous episode, and I'm sure most of your students certainly would know this story, but for people listening that may not know it, can you tell us how you started in jiu-jitsu, how you discovered it, and how your journey began that's led you to where you are now.
Yeah. So you mean when I was attacked when I was a kid? Is that the story you want me to go over?
Just
Yeah,
yeah,
no.
how you started jiu-jitsu. I can't really remember from
Yeah,
back from 4 years ago what
2020.
you told us,
Yeah.
but yeah, tell us again.
I think so. Martial arts began for me when I was 13 years old. I was at a shopping centre, Airport West, with a big group of kids, and there was that they finished year 12. These guys that we were 13, they would have been 17, 18, and they were spraying us with a fire hydrant. And then one of the guys with me yelled something out. These guys ran down, and everybody with me ran away. I didn't run away. It wasn't because I was a tough kid. I was a really gentle kid. It was because I was so innocent. I thought I didn't do anything. I'll just sit here and drink my drink.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys belted me. After they belted me, I was terrified. I was crying. I was asking for money to get to put change in the phone booth and call my dad to take me home, basically. One of the guys came back and pulled out a Stanley knife and slashed my chest because I asked to call my dad. He thought I was going to get my dad to hit him or something. It was very weird, yeah? So after that, I ended up going to the doctors and I got stitches and all that. And I was like very traumatized. When you're 13 and you're like I didn't have many friends. I was very quiet. So my dad put me in karate, and I loved karate. I'll be honest, I loved it. It was fun. It was good. And I did that for a few years, and then my instructor ended up closing down, so I stopped. And then when I was 20, I started watching the UFC, and Hoist Gracie was winning everything. And then I ended up getting the yellow pages back then. We didn't have Google and all that. And I called Peter Devine, and I said, "Is this Gracie Jiu-Jitsu?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Like Hoist Gracie?" He said, "I know Hoist." And I said, "I'm coming now."
Wow.
So I walked in, and Kim, do you remember Michael Chang?
Yes.
Remember him?
What's happened to him? Is he still training jiu-jitsu? No, I don't think so. Yeah.
He bumped into me the day that I walked in. And I'm a big guy. And I remember looking at him thinking, if I grapple you, I'm going to smash you. And he ate me alive. I couldn't believe it. He's a little guy, and he ran circles around me. And I loved it after that. That was it. Like literally after that day, I signed up and I dedicated myself to it. Trained twice a day, as often as I could. You know what's interesting is about, I don't know how many years ago, maybe 7 years ago, that guy that slashed me with the Stanley knife walked into my gym.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I recognized him. I put a post up about this years ago.
Huh.
I was at the gym. There was about 10 or 15 of the guys there. I don't want to name who they were, but there was some good fighters there. He walked into the gym like inquiring, and I recognized him.
Wow.
And I jogged over to him. I was really upset, you know.
Yeah.
And I reminded him what he did. I said, "Do you remember me? You, etc., etc." And he put his hand out. He goes, "Man, I was such an idiot back in the day. I'm so sorry. I'm a different person." And just like that, all the anger went away. I shook his hand,
Oh,
and
so
it was an incredible moment. Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
And that
Showed
turned
him
out to
around.
be Jihad Bekai. There we go.
Lucky James, he might not have been as forgiving as I was. You know?
Oh, wow. That's an amazing story. Wow.
With Kim. Kim was with us as well at Pete's for 10 years.
Yeah.
And it was good memories. I love all the guys at Pete's. If I ever bump into any of them, it's always love and respect. After 10 years, I moved far. I moved to Gisborne. So traveling to St Kilda was just not viable. And then myself and Mirat from Nexus and Dan Sherburn started the Jiu-Jitsu Alliance. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Huh.
I do.
Huh?
Wow.
Yeah, we just started together and a few other gyms jumped on board. And then eventually we just went our separate ways. I went under Gustavo, and I've been under Gustavo ever since. And I've been very happy with him.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. So in theory, you could have been a Devine affiliate and it could have stopped there. Like that could have happened.
So yeah, you were originally Devine affiliate.
I was a Devine affiliate. Yeah, we represented Devine. Yeah.
Amazing.
That's how I met Ninos.
Yeah. Me and Kim
I was
were
at Devine. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, it's such a small world, isn't it? This jiu-jitsu community that all roads lead back to Peter Devine.
Or John Will. Yeah.
Or John Will.
Yeah.
I remember we used to have at the gym, we used to have Big Mick Wilson, Keith Dale was training there. Mirat from Nexus was training there. Dan Sherman was training there. Me and Kim training there. There was so many amazing guys came out of that gym. Friday night comp round. Kim, do you remember that?
We used to do like strength and conditioning first. That was sort of the only chance I would have, because then when it came to the rounds, like, forget it. You would just be murdered, like, repeatedly. It was it was full on. I think it was 6 p.m. Fridays, and went for 2 hours. Oh my God,
You walked out of there, nothing left in the tank. It was full.
You could barely walk,
Amazing.
It was very good. But that was the Pahada kind of attitude. Do you still kind of follow that attitude with training your guys, or do you focus more on technique and let that kind of hard training take care of itself?
Yeah, when there's no competition, we just focus on technique, and we grapple at a decent pace. But when it comes, 2 months out of a competition that we're going to do, we do all of that again. Before we even start training, we'll do sprints, push-ups, we'll pick each other up and all that kind of stuff until we're tired. And then we'll do like 8 competition rounds in a row and different sort of variations of rounds. And we go a lot harder. So usually they're pretty good by the time we train for a comp. They've been training on technique. And then for a couple of months, we just try and get physically good, take care of our diets, see our osteos and our physios, and walk into comp. Everybody usually just sort of changes over the last 2 months of training for a comp.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How are you finding? We've only got about 5 minutes left, but how are you finding? Like, that sounds like a very different strategy than the old days. So how's the body hanging in there with all of this? Well, actually, with that strategy of easier and then harder and then back to easier, is it forgiving?
Yeah. I'm actually feeling pretty good lately for the first time in a long time. I'm seeing an osteo now, and getting regular massages, and like my neck is very bad and my lower back is cooked. It's very bad. So I have like weeks where I can't walk properly, and then I have weeks where I feel great. I don't know why that is, but that's just how it is. I also suffer vertigo. I've got chronic vertigo because I've got stenosis in my spine, and the nerves don't really travel very well, so sometimes I get off balance and dizzy.
Right.
But not more. The past 3 weeks, I felt good, felt strong, no real significant pain.
Awesome.
But it does come and go. Yeah.
Like your jiu-jitsu.
Would you put most of that down to so many years of jiu-jitsu, or was a lot of that sort of hereditary and there already?
I wasn't very intelligent when I trained earlier on. Like, my back's sore, I'll just push through it because I'm a fighter. Pop my elbow, doesn't matter, I'm a fighter. I was stupid, I was so stupid. Like, I don't think I went to an osteo or physio until I was in my 30s. In my 20s, whenever I was injured, I just got a massage and got on with it. That was it. I don't know why that was. It was stupid of me, but I never did. And then I hurt my back. I got slammed illegally years ago, hurt my back. And I tried to push through that. So I ruptured my L4, L5, L5, S1, and I tried to push through it. And then I was bedridden for like 5 months. I was really in a bad place. And 2 weeks out of surgery, I started to recover and feel better, so I avoided surgery. And but I think it's important for young guys and girls and people that are training for the first time, take care of yourselves, get treatments. If you're injured, listen to your body. Longevity is very important. You don't want to train for 5 or 10 years and then limp around everywhere like me. You don't need that.
Don't be like Ninos.
No, be like Ninos.
Yeah,
just over 2 minutes to go, Ninos. I mean, I always sort of wrap it up like this, and you're the master orator here with the words of wisdom. Can you, in just over 2 minutes, give our listeners some final parting thoughts, please?
Yeah, you know what? I said this yesterday to my guys. I'll say it again. It just popped into my mind. When I finished year 12, one of my best friends went fishing with me, and we were sitting by the ocean, and he said something really wise back then. I never forgot it. He said, the day will come where we're in jobs that we don't like, being told when we can have a break, when we're saying goodbye to people that we love, when we're suffering emotionally with anxiety or depression, when we're sick or in pain. And he goes, but right now we're free and we're happy and live. You know, and I remember thinking about that, and I said it to the guys yesterday. The time will come in all of our lives where we're going to go through hard times. Look, we went through lockdown. Everybody was so upset they couldn't train. But right now, we're okay. And we should appreciate it. Like, lock it in and focus on that moment and appreciate it, because time flies too quickly, you know? So if you're training and you're healthy, don't take it for granted. Appreciate it, because the day will come where you can't do what you're doing today. It's a gift. Try and enjoy it while you've got it.
So beautiful, man.
Perfect.
Thanks so much for being on the show, brother.
That was
No worries.
amazing. Look forward to seeing you on the mat. Anybody that wants to come down to Ninos's new gym at
Roll or
Gladstone
die.
Park Shopping Centre, say roll or die. You can train
Yeah, for
for free. And
That's it.
we look forward to seeing you and your team on the mats at all the competitions. We know you'll be bringing the heat, and thank you. Much love.
Cheers,
Take
guys.
care.
Much love.
See ya.
Thank you very
Bye.
much.
Bye.
Take care.